Well, happy Monday, everyone. Greg Dixon here with Betty Withrow, and we're going to talk about how to leverage your content. Many times when you have a new project, you want to write a book or you want to create a course or something like that. Sometimes we're too quick to go to, oh, I got to create something new. When the reality is, we probably have enough stuff kicking around from what we've done before. We've written before. We've created videos, photos, audio, all sorts of stuff. I think I'm going to let Betty speak here in a few seconds, but I think I probably have enough stuff from accumulated from my lifetime to write a book at least once a month till the next 100 years. And Betty, what do you have to say here?
Well, I would agree with that, Greg. Just so you know, yesterday I was going over our outline for our total traffic and conversion book, and when I looked at the outline you had created, I said, "This is like an outline for the whole series." So I had to step back and say, "Okay, I need to create a smaller outline that only covers one topic at a time." Yes, anybody has more content than they realize. I know that you, Greg, are a very prolific writer, and you prove it constantly by coming up with amazing stuff in a short period of time. And just before we went live, I was noticing that the graphic that you chose for this reminded me of a lead magnet that I created, I don't know, 10 years ago, called Spin Straw into Gold. And I know that it's not current, but I will be going back into it and going, what did I write then that still works now? And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there in your folders, in your emails, in all of the things that you've done, no matter who you are, if you've been marketing for any amount of time, that bears looking at again and repurposing.
Yeah, even our broadcast today is we're probably going to transcribe it, and it's going to end up in a chapter in one of the books.
It certainly will, because this is exactly what we are all about. Create it once and use it everywhere, as we said in a client meeting earlier today. You take the same topic and even the same words and move them around for the different requirements of the different platforms, the different audiences, and voila, you can have the capability of being everywhere just by repurposing what you've already got.
Yeah, we were talking mostly today about taking, say, a topic, and then we created a blog post out of it, or we will. Well, we have been, but just today specifically, and then some social media posts in some variation, and then a video clip. Could be a little talk there, and it could be audio into a podcast, and at some point it could be collected and put into an online course. So all from one source, and most of us have a lot of things in our sock drawer or wherever we keep these things.
Yeah, very much. And so when you're talking about putting things into a video, then where are you going to put the video? You're going to put it on your YouTube. You're going to put it possibly embedded in your website. Then in your written content, you're going to have a link that goes to that so that your written content, particularly on your website, gains more value in terms of getting search engine attention, and so on. So there's a whole cycle of different ways that your content can work to reinforce itself and your presence in the marketing world. And so you don't have to just keep writing incessantly unless that's just what you do, like some of us. But then again, you have some people who hate writing or think they're not good at it, or I don't have time to do it. And I say to those people, well, don't have those issues. Have me and get it done. So because everything that I create in terms of content is designed particularly to be repurposed so that our clients don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I can turn that material over to Greg and have him interview the client with the same content, make that video. Then that video can come back to me and I can repurpose it for another post. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this thing can move. And so it's about taking a creative approach to continuously keep the material moving. Your online search engines want you to be doing stuff. And so when you keep doing stuff, you show up when people are looking for what it is that you do. Simple.
Yeah, simple. And you never know where you're going to need the material. I've been working with a musician and writer named Rocket Norton in the Vancouver area for I've been doing things with him for about 30 years. And now we're into a second cancer benefit concert. And now I'm getting calls almost like 2 or 3 times a day wanting, oh, do you have photos when Rocket was a kid? Do you have, photos from the concert last year? Do you have video clips, audio clips? And, so I've got, I just sort of stash all these things away. Sometimes it takes a while to find them, but I usually have them. and and they get recycled into promos or one person today is going to interview Rocket on a radio station and he wanted some material to share, and maybe it's going to go out in press releases, all that kind of stuff. So all of it, you can use it in many places. It's all really valuable, even if it's nothing else other than to tell the story of your own life. All those things, have it in a place where people can review it and share it.
Right, which that storytelling makes you relatable, gets people invested in you and your process, and makes them feel that they know you even before you've actually met or had a conversation. That can be very valuable. And again, you don't have to tell the whole story, obviously, although you can. I have some autobiographical clients who are doing exactly that. And but for your marketing, you don't have to do that. You can pick out the things that are most relevant to what it is that your people want to know. Like Rockets fans want to know, what did this guy look like when he was a little kid?
Yeah, yeah.
Was he always like that? That kind of thing. And yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to even look at the concept of what is content and why do we need to have it. That's a whole other conversation. I'd say that just about everybody I know, and well, everybody that I don't know, has some kind of story and something of value that they're not even seeing the value of, that they could be bringing out to enhance their marketing and enhance their relatability within the marketplace. Story marketing is one. Talking about what it is that you do and highlighting your expertise. That's golden apple number 2 of the 3 golden apples. Okay. Number 1, let's go over this again. I talk about it all the time, but let's do it again. Number 1, speaking in the language of your marketplace so that you understand exactly who it is that you want to reach. How do they communicate? Where do they hang out? What's important to them? That frames what I call their language. And golden apple number 2 is what makes you the only choice? How do you position yourself so that your expertise is so blatant that people simply have to get in touch with you because your message is irresistible? And golden apple number 3 is, what results do you provide? What do people get from working with you? That's the most obvious question in every customer's mind, as we all know. What's in it for me? Answer that question for them effectively, and you're getting ready to make the sale and create a beautiful relationship along the way, because you have followed that story arc into where the person is. You communicate with them in their language, meet them where they are, and offer them what they need, which is really the name of the game. So when you have content that addresses those 3 factors, you have content that is engaging, interesting. People share it with other people. They start talking about you and telling other people that they really should check you out. And as not last but not least, as Greg pointed out, you have possibly the beginning of a book or an online course or a booklet or a video series or something of that nature that, once again, is going to add value to your community and bring you clients, customers, business that you want.
Yeah, for sure. And it's often I think sometimes we overlook the things that we've done lots, right? there's uh, a question people ask over and over, and you're always saying the same thing, and then you've probably written it out a few times. So that's where the real gold is if you can find that and put it together. Like sometimes, if if you've written articles like blog posts, sometimes maybe it's a matter of just going through, taking the 10 of your favorite blog posts, reorganizing it, and then that could be a book or a course.
Exactly. I know people whose books have come directly from their blog stream. And then, as you say, you kind of move it around a little bit, change the messaging because it's a larger format and the content is already there. It's very common for people to not recognize their own brilliance because these things. You think everybody knows them. It's just kind of natural. Well, this is where I live. Doesn't everybody know this stuff? They don't. They do not know the things that you know. And that's what gives you the ability to give them the support that they need. But, again, it's like, okay, well, is that really important? Is another question. Is this really important? Doesn't everybody know this stuff? Like I just said, once again, the chances are nil that they know all of the things that you do. You're the only person who knows all of those things. So don't be selfish. Share it with the world.
And I think we could probably help you with that. I think our general invitation is for people to come and talk to us and say, explain where they're at and where they want to go, and we look at ways of helping you get from where you are to where you want to go, what you want to get out of it. And part of it could be, once we know what you're wanting to achieve, we might ask you, well, what have you done before? Do you have any samples? Do you have any articles you've written, or do you have, recordings you made into a voice recorder 5 years ago when you first had the idea? Like, all that stuff can go into creating, through Betty's process, go through crafting into a book, and something a bit longer, and for me, maybe an online course or website or something like that. So we can help you through all of that. You're just making, as Betty said, sometimes we don't recognize what we've done. Like something that was easy, we just sort of jotted off as a note for somebody, can be life-changing for somebody else.
Oh, isn't that the truth? It's how many times has it been that a quote landed in your mind, or something that somebody said landed in your mind, and you went, whoa, how did I not see that? And it changed everything for you. That's happened to me more than once. And it is life-changing. It is life-changing. And, it doesn't have to be a big giant project either. You say a book and some people are like, oh yeah, right. Sure. Someday. And that means basically they're never ever going to do it. But it can be a shorter one. It can be, an ebook, even a lead magnet can begin to share your expertise with the world and start opening up new pathways for people to find you.
Yes. It could be very simple. Like maybe it's just something that like how to make the best Saskatoon berry pie, or how to clean your canoe or something at the end of your trip, or something really simple that is obvious to you because you do it all the time, but other people don't think of doing it. And it doesn't have to be a huge project. As Betty said, you don't have to write your War and Peace. And it could be just something simple. And in these days, when people are looking for sort of quick insights and just, or a how-to or something like that, it doesn't have to be super elaborate. It can be just straightforward, straight to the point. You don't have to labor over it, especially if all you're really doing is pulling out stuff from your own vaults, your own archives, and just polishing it up, reorganizing a little bit. Often often what things need is just a little bit more structure and a table of contents, and then they're ready to go.
Yes, indeed. And that brings to mind something that a very valuable presentation that I saw a while ago about filing name conventions. Okay. And as a person who spends a lot of time moving files around and needing to have them organized so that I can do my work properly and take care of my clients, I found it fascinating how you can organize your files in such a way that you can find them without having to go nuts. Now, see, that could make a really valuable booklet. Even an entire book could be made out of that. But certainly, a series of blogs or things like that. And, even a topic that appears to many to be rather dry, to me it was like, this is fascinating, because it opened up a whole new way of thinking for me about how I organize my material. And this is just an example of what the things that might do for other people.
That actually came up with our client conversation. It's about how you categorize things, right? What's a higher level category and a category? Because you get, if you start on the wrong way, then everything you end up, it's hard to find. And, most people, look at things a little bit differently, but sometimes if you can find a common way of structuring it, then it's a lot easier for everybody to find.
Yeah. Yeah. And, for me, putting things with the date on them has been a game changer. Because like I sometimes I'm working on a book and I may have 10 or 15 drafts of the book as I'm going through it, and each one is dated so that I know where I was on that date and I can find things, and even when we're sharing files in Google Drive, I can go, oh, okay, what were we doing on that day? And then I can type it into search on Drive and find the darn thing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty important. And tools like that for organizing and things of that nature are huge for people. It really makes a big difference in their lives. And if you have knowledge like that, it can be, this is how you operate. Doesn't everybody do this? I promise you they don't. You might get, I've actually had people mail me a printout in the mail and going, can you fix this? And I'm like, oh, possibly, but isn't there a better way? So yeah, life.
Oops. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't faxed.
Right.
Yeah. This is probably a subject worthy of a whole broadcast in itself. I know I've spent quite a bit of time scanning and organizing photos, and that's a place where it really helps if you can have organize it. Depending on it is, and if it's family, almost always by year, and then within the year it might be, certain events like a wedding or a vacation or maybe a physical location. Bonnie and I travel a lot, so it's organized by state or province. Yeah. Sometimes it's better than organizing your contacts by middle initial anyway.
Oh, you're not kidding. That would be a nightmare. Absolutely. Yeah, we should have a broadcast just about, organizing your files. That's in the book outline, Greg. It's one of the topics. So, yeah, how to break down the gargantuan encyclopedia that was in the one outline into our series. That was my quandary yesterday. And I said, wait a minute. And you know what it did? It triggered me to write some more of my own content, which I have not been doing properly because I've been writing for everyone else. So I went, okay, that's a start.
Yeah, it is a start. It seems like even for us, even just having this broadcast regularly on Tuesday, all of our clients all want to book at this time, and finally we said no. And before or after, we have to stick with doing this. So
true.
I both have a few books on the back burner that we don't get to because we're busy doing stuff for everybody else.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. That falls under excuses, and then I'm going to have to pull out the Essential Excuse Handbook and give the number of what excuse it is that we're using. So it's like I really got to do this, and I did kind of got a concept of what to do yesterday, and then I kind of ran out of that kind of energy. But I'm going to revisit it quite clearly in the near future, and go, okay, here's what I think we need. And not one outline, but 5 here. And then we go from there because we have the content. All we need to do is organize it. Yeah.
So you can see how that works. We just made one comment and all of a sudden there's an outline in a book.
Right. Yeah. It just happens that way. Things just pop out. Yeah.
We should probably let people go before we planned out the Wikipedia Britannica.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we will be doing that. I think the thing is prioritizing what should be volume 1 and going from there. Yeah. I really like your outline, but as I said, it covers everything, which would be an encyclopedia, so we're not doing it that way.
That's why I went from a single book to a series.
Yes, indeed. It must be so. Oh, very good. Yeah.
So I people have something forward to next week, and I give the invitation for everybody to. If anybody wants to help, to contact us through LinkedIn, Facebook, and all sorts of places, and let us know what you want to accomplish, and maybe you can tell us about what's in your fault, and we can help you organize it and bring out the goal for you. Yeah. So okay, Betty.
Yeah, well, as we like to say, just go ahead and do it. Push the button, make an appointment, reach out to us on whatever medium we have in common, and let's have a conversation. That's where it starts.
That's awesome. Let's do it. Let's conversation. So happy Monday, everyone.